Thank you so much, Julie, and Shabbat Shalom, everybody. My name is Naftali Aklum. I was born in Ethiopia, long time ago in 1979. I'm the youngest of 12 brothers and sisters, and I made Aliyah. I immigrated from Ethiopia to Israel when I was 1 year old in 1980. Before I start my lecture, I would like to share a screen with you of my PowerPoint. So give me a few seconds to do it. Okay, so one of the questions that people ask me a lot is how do we have Black Jews living in a country in East Africa that's called Ethiopia? How does the Ethiopian Jews arrive to Ethiopia? But there is two versions of how the Ethiopian Jews came to Ethiopia. The first version, which is the version that everyone knows, it's the version of King Solomon and Queen Sheba. Queen Sheba used to control the country that we know today, Ethiopia, Eritrea, Yemen. All this area used to call the ancient Kush. And Queen Sheba was the queen of that area. Now, King Solomon, as you all know, was the wisest man on earth. And all the kings and the queens in his time wanted to come here to learn from him, to have advice from him. Queen Sheba also heard about King Solomon. So she came here, they fell in love, and they brought a son to the world. His name was Menelik the first king of Ethiopia. When Menelik was 14 years old, he told his mother, I want to know my father more. So he came here. He spent a few months here with his father, King Solomon. After a few months, King Solomon told his son, you have to go back to Kush, Ethiopia. But King Solomon didn't send his son alone. He sent thousands of people back with him. And some believe that we, the Ethiopian Jews, came out from the thousands of people that went back with Menelik back to Ethiopia, Kush. That's the first version. The second version of how the Ethiopian Jews came to Ethiopia, it's after the destruction of the first temple. When King Nebuchadnezzar came and conquered this area, we had all the 12 tribes here. One tribe decided to escape to the south to Egypt. Now, I don't know how much you guys know about the Nile River, but we have two Nile River. The one is the blue. The blue start in Ethiopia, and the white start in Sudan. This tribe walked through the blue Nile River until they ended up in Ethiopia. And that's the tribe of Dan. We, the Ethiopian Jews, believe to the second version. We believe we are the lost tribe of Dan. Now, guys, I want you to know that we are speaking about ancient community. Community that for thousands of years thought that they are the only Jews left in the world. And why? Because we were isolated. We didn't have any relationship to any other Jewish community in the world. For example, the Jewish community in Toledo, Spain, always had some relationship with the Jewish community in Fez, Morocco. The rabbi here used to send letters to the rabbi there, but we, the Ethiopian Jewish community, were isolated. We were so isolated that we thought that we are the only Jews left in the world. Christianity came to Ethiopia in the 4th century. And over the years, in the history of Ethiopia, there was lots of kings and queens that wanted to convert the Ethiopian Jewish community into Christianity. But we kept our Judaism with our life because we knew that if we will convert, Judaism will disappear. Because again, we thought that we are the only Jews left in the world. By the way, we left after the destruction of the first temple. We never had the oral Torah. The oral Torah came a few years after. We had only the written Torah. That's why, for example, we, the Ethiopian Jews, never celebrated holidays like Hanukkah, Purim, because those holidays are coming from the oral Torah. We celebrated holidays from the written Torah, like Sukkot, Pesach, and Shavuot. In Ethiopia, the non-Jews used to nickname us Falasha. Now, the meaning of the term Falasha, it's a negative term. It means a stranger, someone who is not in his land. This is how the non-Jews called us in Ethiopia. We called ourselves Beta Israel. Why? Because we always wanted to remind ourselves that we belong to Am Israel. Now, speaking about holidays, this coming Monday, we, the Ethiopian Jewish community, celebrating the Sigd. The Sigd is a holiday that in Ethiopia, we used to celebrate 50 days after Yom Kippur. We will reconnect our trust with God, and in Ethiopia, in every village, the community used to climb to a high mountain with our spiritual leaders, the Kesim. You see the man in the picture, that's our Kesim, that's our spiritual leaders. And up in the mountain, we used to fast and pray with the Torah, asking God one thing: bring us back home to Zion. And today in Israel, we also celebrate this holiday. We celebrate this holiday to keep the culture, to keep the heritage. And today in Israel, what we do is we going to Jerusalem. We first thanking God for bringing us here to Israel, to Jerusalem. And everyone is praying for something different. But as a community, we, the Ethiopian Jewish community, are asking God today in the Sigd to bring peace to its people. For me, the Sigd is a beautiful and lovely day. You can see the whole community in Jerusalem dressing in white, having parties, food, lots of different activities for children. And if you guys will be in Israel in November, I really suggest you all to come and see the Sigd. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful holiday. And we're going to celebrate it this coming Monday. Unfortunately, this year, we will not be able to go to Jerusalem and to do it the way we used to do it, but we're going to celebrate it in different ways. 1973, it's a very important year in the history of the Ethiopian Jewish community. In 1973, this rabbi, Rabbi Ovadia Yosef, was the first rabbi to say it loud and clear: Ethiopian Jews are Jews, and we have to bring them to Israel. He was the first rabbi to say it. Rabbi Ovadia Yosef was the Sephardim chief rabbi, and he was the first one. In Israel, I don't know if you guys know, but we have a special law from 1950, the law of return. Even though the law of return exists from 1950, the Ethiopian Jews didn't came until the end of the 70s. One of the reasons was because the Rabbanites didn't accept us as Jews. But in 1973, for the first time, the chief rabbi of Israel, Rabbi Ovadia Yosef, said loud and clear, Ethiopian Jews are Jews. In 1975, the Ashkenaz chief rabbi, Rabbi Shlomo Goren, also announced Ethiopian Jews are Jews. Now, when you have two chief rabbis, one Sephardi, one Ashkenazi here in Israel, saying that the Ethiopian Jewish community are Jews, it means that the government of Israel in 1975 have to apply the law of return on the Ethiopian Jews. So in 1975, for the first time, the law of return applied on the Ethiopian Jews. But guess what? Ethiopian Jews still didn't came in 1975. They didn't came in 1976. In the 70s, we had the Cold War in the world. The world was separated to two. countries that follow after the United States of America, and countries that follow after the Soviet Union. Israel follow after the United States of America. In Ethiopia, until 1974, we had the last emperor, Emperor Haile Selassie. In 1974, we had an army revolution in Ethiopia. A young officer from the Ethiopian army took control of the country. His name was Mengistu Haile Mariam. Mengistu Haile Mariam decided that Ethiopia will be a communist country and that she will follow after the Soviet Union. That's explained why Israel and Ethiopia didn't have diplomatic relationship in the 70s. 1977, for the first time, the Likud party won the election, and the new prime minister is Menachem Begin. Menachem Begin, one of the first things that he did as a prime minister was to invite to his office the head of the Mossad, then Yitzhak Hofi, and he told him, bring me the Ethiopian Jews. That was one of the first things that Menachem Begin did as a prime minister. And I can tell you that because of Menachem Begin, usually the Ethiopian Jewish community voting for the Likud because they remember what Menachem Begin did for them. But even though Menachem Begin wanted the Ethiopian Jewish community to come to Israel, still there was no way to bring the Ethiopian Jews. Mengistu Haile Mariam became a dictator. Now, when you are a dictator, you will always have individuals or groups that will start to rebel against you. Same thing in Ethiopia. There was a group called TPLF, Tigray People Liberation Front, that started to rebel against Mengistu Haile Mariam regime. Now in Israel, the government saw the problem that Mengistu Haile Mariam have, and they offered him what we call the arm deal. The arm deal is a deal between Ethiopia and Israel. The state of Israel is willing to give Mengistu Haile Mariam weapon and advice, and in return, all you have to do is to let some thousands of Ethiopian Jews to leave the country. Mengistu Haile Mariam really needed that help, and he agreed. But he had one condition: it have to be a secret deal. Everyone agreed, and in November 1977, the state of Israel sending Mossad agent to the capital city of Ethiopia, Addis Ababa. Now those Mossad agents coming to Ethiopia, one of the biggest countries in Africa, they don't speak the national language Amharic. They don't understand the culture in Ethiopia. And they don't know exactly where are the Jews' villages, which means they needed help. And one of the people that they were asking help from was my late brother, Ferede Yazezo Aklum. My brother in the 70s was a teacher, or the organization opened school in the Ethiopian Jewish villages to prepare them for the day that they will come to Israel. They opened the school in the beginning of the 60s. And my brother was a teacher in one of their schools. So the Mossad approached to my brother and they told him, listen, we have a list of 120 Ethiopian Jews from the Gondar area. If you can see the map now of Ethiopia, you can see up north, the city of Gondar and Tigray. This is where the Jewish community used to live. In the middle, we can see the capital city, Addis Ababa. My brother is in Gondar, teaching there. And they told my brother, listen, we have a list of 120 Ethiopian Jews. We want you to bring them from Gondar to Addis Ababa. In the 70s, by bus, from Gondar to Addis Ababa, we're speaking about more than 3 days driving. My brother understood that 120 Ethiopian Jews are going to fulfill that dream to return back home to Zion. So my brother told the Mossad agent, I will help you guys, but I want to be one of the 120 Ethiopian Jews that going to Jerusalem. The Mossad people told my brother, it's a pilot. We will have more groups in the future, but in the meantime, We need your help. So my brother, of course, saw those people coming from Israel to save his community. He said, I must help them. And this is exactly what he did. He found, organized, and brought the 120 Ethiopian Jews from Gondar to Addis Ababa, and he delivered them to the Mossad people in the capital city of Ethiopia. On January 1978, for the first time, legally, 120 Ethiopian Jews are coming to Israel. Now, a few weeks after the first group arrived, at that time in Israel, we had the foreign minister, Moshe Dayan. And Moshe Dayan had a press conference in Geneva. And one of the journalists asked him, does Ethiopia have a deal with Israel? Now, we all know it's a secret deal. But from a reason that we don't know, and we will never know because Moshe Dayan is no longer with us, Moshe Dayan spoke freely about this deal. He told the world about the deal between Ethiopia and Israel. When the dictator Mengistu Haile Mariam heard about that, the first thing that he did was to cancel the deal. And then to tell all the Mossad agents that are in the land of Ethiopia to leave immediately. But he did one more thing. He started to chase after all the Ethiopian Jews activists that took part in this deal. One of them is my brother. My brother became a wanted man in his own country. Now, to be a wanted man in Ethiopia under the regime of Mengistu Haile Mariam, it means that if they will catch you, you are a dead man. So what would you do if you know that your life is at risk? You will run away. Now, let's see the map. Gondar, it's up in the north, in the west side. The closest country to run to, it's Sudan. Now, two problems with Sudan. Sudan is a Muslim country. It's not safe for a Jew to be there, but you can hide your identity as Jew. The other problem is the distance between Gondar to the capital city of Sudan, Khartoum. We're speaking about more than 300 miles. Now, 300 miles by airplane, it's not that far. It's about an hour flight. But what about walking 300 miles? What about the journey in the desert of more than 300 miles? My brother didn't have a car, and there is no plane to take you from Gondar to the capital city, Khartoum. So my brother had to walk more than 300 miles in the desert to save his life. It took him more than 2 months to do that journey. When he arrived to the capital city of Sudan, Khartoum, he had with him only two things. One, it's a book with some addresses of some Mossad agent that he worked with in Ethiopia. And the other thing that he had with him was his wedding ring. My brother decided to sell the wedding ring, and with the money that he earned, he went to the main post office and he sent telegrams to his contacts telling them, it's me, Naftali Aklum. I'm in Khartoum, Sudan. Please save me. My brother waited in the street of Khartoum, living as a homeless for another 5 months. But after 5 months, not only that his message arrived, the Mossad decided to send a young Mossad agent, Danny Limor, to save my brother from the street of Khartoum and to bring him to Israel. I will not go into details of how Danny Limor found my brother in Khartoum, Sudan, but I can tell you that it took him about a week to find my brother in Khartoum, Sudan. When the two of them met, the journey of all the Ethiopian Jews from Ethiopia to Sudan and from Sudan to Israel started. From 1979 until 1984, 20,000 Ethiopian Jews left their villages, their land, their properties, going to the unknown. No one promised them that in the end they will make it to Jerusalem. But the Ethiopian Jewish community saw an opportunity to fulfill a dream of more than 2,500 years. When my family started the journey, I was 6 months old. I want you to think about babies. I want you to think about adults that have to do a journey of 300 miles. In my village, we had an old man. His name was Kasai Bere. And his family told him, listen, don't leave, stay here, you will not make it. This old man, Kasai Bere, told his family, I'd rather die on my way to Jerusalem, but I will not stay here. And unfortunately, Kasai died on his way to Sudan. Out of the 20,000 Ethiopian Jews that left, 4,000 Ethiopian Jews didn't make it and died on the way. 4,000 Ethiopian Jews. When the Ethiopian Jews arrived to Sudan, they put them in a refugee camps. In those refugee camps, we call it our own Holocaust. Every day between 10 to 20 people died because of the food that they gave them in the refugee camps, disease in the refugee camps. Many Ethiopian Jewish women were raped by the Sudanese soldiers. Now I want to show you a quick video for you to understand how much we, the Ethiopian Jewish community, had to sacrifice to fulfill our dream to return back home to Jerusalem, Jerusalem.
אני כותב את המחקר הזה לאנשים שלעולם לא יקראו אותו. זהו ניסיון נואש לעורר את זכרם שנשכח בתוך ים של זיכרונות עצובים בארץ מוכת האסונות הזו. הפסימים יטענו שאני מעורר מתים, הציניקנים יצהלו שאני מגזים, אבל אני חרד שאתם תשכחו בלי שאף אדם ישים. אתם לא 100 ולא 200, אלא 4,000 איש ואישה, זקנים וטף, שהאמינו שמקומם כאן. ניסיתם להגשים את חלומכם ויצאתם למסע רגלים מפרך, דרך ג'ונגלים סבוכים, נערות גויים ומדבריות אימתניים, שבהם רוצחים ואנסים מטילי אימה וחסרי לב. אבל נשארתם שם, במרחב האינסופי, קבורים בתוך אדמה זרה בקבר לא מסומן. לא מעט מכם, מבלי שאיש הניח עפר על גופותיכם. אך למרות הסכנות, המשכתם לצאת בהמוניכם למסע שכמדומני לא היה כמותו מאז יציאת מצרים. צעדתם בלילות ובימים, והגעתם אל סודן הארורה. סודן פערה את פיה ואיימה לטרוף את כולנו מבלי להשאיר זכר. לא מעט מכם גרו בשכנות אליי, באותם מחנות פליטים שהפכו למלכודת מוות מדי בוקר עם זריחת השמש. גברים חסונים, אמהות רחומות, וילדים שטרם טעמו את טעם החיים, נבלו שם כפרחים בשמש. כמו כל אלה שהיו שם, נאלצתי לראות אתכם גוועים מול עיניי, וליוויתי אתכם לאותם מקומות מסתור שנקראו קברים. לא אשכח את הלילות בהם דנו איך להיפטר מגופותיכם בסתר, הרחק מעיניהם של גויים עוינים. לא אשכח את הימים בהם הפנים היו חרושות דמעות יבשות, ולא את רגעי הייאוש וחוסר האונים. לא אשכח איך כל דאגותיי היו לאלה שישארו בחיים אחריי, והצטרכו לסכן את עצמם בחיפוש אחר מקום לקבור את גופתי. בסודן הארורה איבדנו את כבודנו האנושי האחרון. משפחותיהם של אחדים מכם נמחקו כאילו לא נבראו מעולם. ילדים נותרו יתומים, הורים שקלו את ילדיהם, גברים איבדו את נשותיהם ונשים נותרו ללא בעלים. את כל זה עשיתם כדי להגיע אל ארץ נחלתכם, אך לשווא. בארץ שחלמתם לחיות בה, האנשים חיים בקצב מסחרר, והזיכרון שלהם קצר מאוד. אנשים שאפילו לא זוכרים את המלחמה של הקיץ האחרון, בוודאי שאין להם זמן לזיכרון העבר. ואני חרד שזיכרונכם יישאר נחלת מעטים, והתפוגג לו בחלוף הדור שחווה את המסע על בשרו.
So I came to Israel when I was 1 year old. One of the first city that received the Ethiopian Jews is my city, Beersheba, down in the south. And to grow up here was very challenging. It was not easy to grow up here as a new immigrant. The neighborhood that I grew up was a neighborhood that had maybe 90% Ethiopian Jews. The school that I went had the same amount, 90% Ethiopian Jews. It means that when you wake up in the morning and go to school, and from school you go back to your home, all you see is your community. When I was a kid, I remember that I was very and still very proud to be Jew and very proud to be an Israeli. But when I was a kid, unfortunately, I didn't really like the color of my skin. Because from time to time, people used to call us in different names, Negro, Samba, and things like that. And I was asking God as a kid, why have you brought me to this world as a black man if it's not an easy to be a black man in a country that our vast majority is white, even though we live among our brothers and sisters. But during the years, I, I went back to Ethiopia for a roots trip, and over there, I really changed, and that trip changed my life. I realized that, yeah, I'm a proud Jew, I'm a proud Israeli, but I'm a proud black man today as well. Black is beautiful. And when you have all those little identities within you and you accept them and you make one strong identity, you know who you are and you know you're worth something. And people will always look at you the way you look at yourself. And when you are proud of who you are proud of your community, people will be able to see that. 3 years ago, I got a call from Hollywood about a movie called The Red Sea Diving Resort. The Red Sea Diving Resort is a movie, it's a Hollywood movie that tells the story of how the Mossad brought the Ethiopian Jewish community from Sudan to Israel. In this movie, we have Chris Evans, Halle Bennett, Michael K. Williams. By the way, if you didn't see the movie, it's on Netflix for free, so please go and see the movie. And they told me that they want me to be a consulate image for this movie. So I was very happy because one of the things that I'm doing now is I'm trying to bring to the forefront the story of the Ethiopian Jewish community. That's why I created Project Yerus. And when you have Hollywood who wants to make a movie out of it, then that's great. And Chris Evans, by the way, is playing the Mossad agent that came to save my brother from the street of Khartoum, Danny Limor. Michael K. Williams is playing my brother in the movie. At the beginning, we wanted Denzel Washington to play my brother, but Denzel Washington is very, very, very expensive. But Michael K. Williams did a great job, and we are very happy with this movie. And I can tell you that we are working on another movie as soon as possible. And so stay tuned for another movie. And I would like to end this presentation with few things that the Prime Minister of Israel would like to say about the importance of the story of the Ethiopian Jewish community to the people here in Israel and to the people all over the world.
משפחת אקלום היקרה, אזרחים ואזרחות נכבדים. סיפור עלייתם של יהודי אתיופיה הוא אחד מסיפורי הגבורה המרתקים בהיסטוריה שלנו. אבל זה סיפור שלא נחשף במידה ראויה לציבור הישראלי. החברה הישראלית אינה יודעת על המנהיגים פורצי הדרך. נטלו על עצמם סיכון חיים וחצו דרך לרבבות של משפחות להגיע לציון. הם יצאו באישון לילה, לעתים בבשרום מטלטלים קדנץ, נעדו בלילות, מרחק של מאות קילומטרים, תוך התמודדות עם כל הקשיים שבדרך, קושי הפיזי, ההליכה על הלא נודע, התקפות של שודדים, רוצחים אפילו, צמא, רעב, מחלות. בני משפחות רבות לא עמדו במאמץ ומתו בדרך. צריך רצון מברזל, חלום וכמיהה לירושלים, כדי להתמודד עם כל האתגרים הללו. היה לכם את זה, הייתה לכם כמיהה עתיקת יומין לאורך דורות לציון, כמיהה שדחפה את המשפחות למסע המיוחד הזה. עד היום כמעט לא דובר ולא סופר הסיפור הגבורה הזה, אבל כעת יש הזדמנות לתקן. כעת יש הזדמנות להביא את סיפור עליית יהודי אתיופיה כחלק מפסיפס סיפורי העלייה של יהודים בכל חלקי תבל. זה לא הסיפור שלכם, מארג ההיסטוריה שלנו חסר. אני רוצה למלא את החסרות. אני מבקש להודות ליוזמי הכנס על ההזדמנות להביא לקדמת השיח הציבורי את סיפור הגבורה יוצא הדופן של פרדה יזזו אקלום, זיכרונו לברכה. פרדה היה חלוץ שפרץ יחד עם אנשי המוסד את הנתיב לעלייתם של יהודי אתיופיה לישראל דרך סודאן. בעקבותיו באו עוד רבים. כל אחד תרם כמידת יכולתו, אבל המשותף לכולם היה שהם התעלו מעבר לאינטרסים המשפחתיים או האישיים הצרים וסייעו לקהילה כולה. נתינה שכזו, אומץ לב שכזה, אלה ראויים שיהיו מודל לחיקוי לדור הבא של מדינת ישראל. ברכותיי לכם.
So if you want to know more about the Ethiopian Jewish community, you can visit my website, jewsofethiopia.com. If you would like to support my project, Project Heroes, you are more than welcome to support. I can share the link for you to support. And I want to wish you all Shabbat Shalom and Chag Sigd Sameach. And I will give you 10 minutes for Q&A. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Naftali. This has been so informative and so interesting. And if folks have questions, feel free to put those in the chat box now. We'll give that a couple minutes. And in the meantime, we'll put that link that you wanted from about Yaros.
Julie, do you want to ask the questions and I will answer?
Sure. Someone's asking about setting up a correspondence program with members of their synagogue. Could they be in touch with you?
Yeah, of course.
Great. What's your email?
So they have all the details in my website, my email, my phone, my everything, Jews of Ethiopia. I will write it down on the chat for them to, yeah, so it's, you can ask the other question in the meantime. Hold on.
And some people are asking about the recording. Yes, it will be available on my Jewish Learning's YouTube channel, probably on Monday, and we can send that out in an email.
We have more questions, Julie?
Yeah, we have a couple more questions coming in. Someone's asking about Sigdiada.
Yeah. So yeah, Sigdiada is a festival that's been in Tel Aviv. It's another way to show our culture and our, you know, the things that we have, our Ethiopian cuisine, our music, our dance. So Sigdiada, it's beautiful. It's giving the opportunity for people to learn more in different ways about the Ethiopian Jewish community. And one of the things, I know the guy that responsible for the Sigd, is a good friend of mine, and he would like, you know, when the corona will leave us alone, he would like to do a tour Sigd in America. So that's something he would like to work on. I think it will be great. Is there a community? Huh?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so is there a community of Ethiopian Jews outside of Israel? So yeah, we still have about 7,000 Ethiopian Jews living in Ethiopia. The government decided 2 months ago that only 2,000 of them will come as soon as possible. So we're still waiting for all the Ethiopian Jewish community to come. We have 7,000 Ethiopian Jews still in Ethiopia.
Do you have a favorite memory or practice of Sigd from your childhood?
Well, I came here when I was 1 year old. I guess I never celebrated Sigd in Ethiopia. But yeah, for me, it was wow, you know, when I was a kid, to go to Jerusalem was something very big for me, you know, because my parents thought that when they will come to Israel, they will live in Jerusalem. But in the end, they came to Beersheba. So every opportunity that we had to go and drive to Jerusalem was wow. So every year, I remember I was walking with my parents to Jerusalem, and it was a lovely thing to see, you know, your whole community, another friend of yours, people, your relative, your family. And I'm always having good memories from the city, and I'm still going every year. And I'm taking my daughter with me as well.
Steve is asking if you can address the Ethiopian impact on Israeli culture, food, music, art, otherwise.
So now, well, something happened in the last, I would say, 10 years. For example, you will see a lot of artists, music, from the music industry here in the mainstream in Israel. Well, black people can sing, I guess, you know, they sing beautiful. And you will see a lot of Ethiopians who became like pop star, you know, they're making rap, Hebrew rap, music, the Ethiopian food, it's very well known today as superfood. It's very healthy food. So you will see lots of Ethiopian restaurants in Tel Aviv, in Beersheba, in every city that have Ethiopian Jewish community, you will see Ethiopian restaurant. So I guess that we are starting to show our things within the Israeli society.
And are more Ethiopians still coming to Israel?
So yeah, as I said, the government decided that 2,000 Ethiopian Jews will come, but we have 7,500 still waiting. So after the 2,000, we will have another 5,500 waiting. And I just hope that the government will bring them once and for all, one time. It doesn't have to be 2,000, 3,000. They need to bring them all one time.
Is there an Ethiopian Jewish community in the United States?
So I would say something very important, not very important, but very interesting. So DC, it's a city that have a lot of Ethiopians, right? They are not Jews, most of them are Christian, but the biggest community of Ethiopians outside of Ethiopia today is in Israel. In America, you have Ethiopian Israelis that, you know, went to America, the land of opportunities, to try to be as successful in America. We have about 300 Ethiopian Jews in New York, I can tell you for sure. But only 300, it's, you know, and I wish they would come back.
Amy comments that I'm left wondering what more the world could have done to rescue the Jews from Sudan earlier. Could Israel have done more sooner? Why not the US? Was their plight unknown to the media?
So I believe that the government of Israel, well, the government of Israel did something big, you know, to have this operation in 1984, Operation Moses, and then in 1991, Operation Solomon. But if you ask me, and we as a community, we're very thankful for the government for doing that. But if you ask me, there was a big opportunity to avoid Sudan, to avoid the refugee camps. But unfortunately, it didn't happen. But you know, we're always looking at the past, and we remember the past. But we are moving forward. You know, we want our community to be today part of the Israeli society. We want to fight against the challenges that we are having today in the Israeli society. We want to be successful here, you know.